All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I am Justin, joined by Jack and Caitlin as always, and we have two very special guests that are joining us today, and they aren't going to be guests very much longer, if they are at all. We've got Brandon Justice and Tanner Wooten with us. What was,
I feel at home already. Like I'm not. I don't. Feel
it was just perfectly worded.
I'm already moving in. Like I've already got my bed in there. Like we're here.
I love it. I love it.
I'm in your basement, dog.
I like it a lot. Yeah, you guys are. I mean, you definitely are. You just texted us and you're like, "Hey, we're gonna do a podcast and we're gonna come on and you're going to announce us." That's pretty much how this came.
Yeah, we did. I mean, that's the only way to announce it, though.
That's true. That's true.
Ruthless aggression. Ruthless aggression.
I love it. The boys are joining Blue by 90. Tanner Wooten and Brandon Justice. You guys have been, I feel like in the Michigan media, in and around, like for quite some time now, bouncing around, doing different things, writing, podcasting, streaming, whatever it is. And now you're joining the boys here at BB90. We're pumped, man. We're very pumped.
These are exciting times. I don't know. I just think everything culturally fits. It's a really good mesh for everybody involved. And I feel like I can loosen up and talk about it the way I want to talk about it. Michigan, that is. I was lucky to have an opportunity to work in the media for a while, but like super happy with everything that's going on right now and just thankful for the time I had doing it. Not like no animosity about not doing it anymore, but like I still love doing it, which is why I'm here. So excited with, you guys are great guys and worked out. And
all right,
someone's got to carry the show. Ro's getting a little too busy, so it's going down.
Someone's
got to pick up drop bags and McDonald's.
Brown jug. Sorry, actually.
Totally kidding.
Burger deals over here.
Yeah.
Too soon.
I plan on being relish. I plan on being relish. There's already a nice dog, ketchup, mustard. We need a little relish. That's who I plan on being. And I'm sure the fella to my right here, Tanner, we can.
I'll take an onion, man. There's a lot of layers.
Maybe you're the pickle slice. We'll go.
I got a lot of layers, bro. Like Brandon and I came up in this space together, and he kind of went traditional media route. We were at Amazing Brew together. I was doing like videos of Jabril Peppers and recruits, and just like helping Brandon get interviews. Like he would use my recruiting videos as like a little carrot for a recruit to like dangle it out. Like, hey, if you let me interview you, I'll get you a cool video. And they were not cool because I made them on my MacBook in like 10 minutes. But we came up and, he kind of went the traditional media route. I work in the private sector in finance, but have always been around and I podcasted and I made that sound really good. I plan on getting like reprimanded at my job at some point from something I say. So like, let's just get it over with. But him and I came up together and we podcasted together. So this feels kind of natural for us to join together and announce it together. Brandon was at my wedding. Him and I become really good friends over the last 7-8 years that we've been doing this. So it's really cool to kind of see it all come full circle and be able to still cover Michigan, but in definitely more of the, like he said, the cultural aspect where we're fans first and really just enjoy Michigan athletics, but being able to bring a nice unique spin to it with our media professional history, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm fired up, man. It's gonna be awesome.
He's such good friends with you that he left as soon as you started talking.
I know. I started showering him in compliments and he went to go get chicken cordon bleu.
I'm back though. I'm back right on time.
I mean, if this doesn't scream this is the kind of professionalism that you guys are going to bring to the table is at 2.5 minutes into the first podcast, we're going to eat a meal. I love it. Also, we somehow have them fooled that we are good guys. I don't know who told you that or what happened there, but I love that compliment too.
I don't know if you said good guys or a good time. One of the two.
I'm not really sure what I said. Most of the time I don't think before I speak, though. So
I feel like I'm one or the other. I'm never really both at the same time. I'm one or the other, though.
That's fair.
So
some might say neither.
Also, a lot of people would actually say neither. Like, actually, I don't enjoy your presence at all, to be honest with you. Also, I want to apologize to the listeners because I cannot imagine that like our 5 male voices are easy to distinguish between as we're all talking over each other too.
And we're all from Metro Detroit, so we have like the most vanilla voice. Well, I guess Tanner, you're not.
Well, you're up 2 hours south of Detroit, so still the same dialect, still the same, like there's like no accent, bro. It's like the perfect English. Like
It's kind of like King of the Hill. Like if it came back,
yeah.
it'd be us.
Wow.
That's true. That's
Like a
true.
Midwest King of the Hill.
All right, so I guess should we talk? Let's talk some football real quick. We're coming off of one of the best Michigan football seasons that we in this room have ever experienced. That's for sure. None of us are over 30, I think.
Yeah.
I'm the old man.
I'm
in the room.
27.
I'm the youngest by far.
I'm definitely the old man in the room at 30. And so definitely like one of the best seasons that we've ever endured, especially, since Blue by 90. I will say people don't give us enough credit. Like since we made Blue by 90, Michigan football is on the up and up.
That's a good point.
That's true.
I mean, take away 2020 because that season doesn't count.
Well, it doesn't count. No, that's for sure.
Nobody was there.
No.
Yeah.
But Michigan's only lost, 3 games since we've been rolling, not counting 2020?
Exactly.
Since we've had like a Twitter follower, like we've been nothing but up.
More than like 3 Twitter followers. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. We did
It's the good vibes, man. That's what's happening.
We did have like 3 listeners to our podcast for a good chunk of time. It was just us 3. It was me. It was me pressing listen on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, like Anchor, like every single thing. But no, this season obviously disappointing. We all watched the national championship last night too. All right, I want to get your guys' takes on this because I put it out there on Twitter that how I was feeling of like at first I was like, holy shit, we should have beat this TCU team by 100. And then after a little bit, I was like, that could have been us that was getting walloped. And I'm okay with not getting embarrassed on national TV too. Now, I think that we would have given them a much better game, but like I do think Georgia decided to let the world know that they're still Georgia last night too.
I'll tell you what, by the time I fell asleep during the game. I took a little nap and a little positive vibes nap. I was hoping when I woke up, TCU would have came back. I think I fell asleep after Duggan scored that touchdown. And I woke up and I swear to God, like, when you wake up and you can't really like
first quarter.
see, and it's like blurry and you're just like,
this is
you
like
can't really tell what's going on.
At night.
Oh, what? I couldn't even hear you said.
This is like, if you woke up when he scored that touchdown, that was in like the first
No.
5 minutes.
I fell asleep. I took my nap
okay.
after that.
All right.
So when I woke up, I was expecting a closer game, and I think it was 58-7 at that point, and I was just like, "Holy shit, what the fuck did I miss?" So I'm glad that I missed a lot of that game.
Jack time traveled.
Yeah, I guess fast
I did
forward.
earlier.
I was just like, this game sucks. I'm just gonna fast forward, and I'll wake up and just see what happens at the end. Great way to watch your game.
That was wild.
I like it.
Like I made a face. Justin, you said we all watched it. I didn't watch a single moment. I saw highlights on Twitter. I think my favorite moment from last night was I saw the TCU Barstool Twitter. It was like, we've been here before. And I'm like, dude, you're down 31 points to Georgia at halftime.
Georgia.
Like, this ain't the Alamo Bowl against Oregon, bro. Like,
Yeah, you have not. You actually have not been there before.
no.
In fact, you have not.
I was with you, Justin. Like, I was like, damn, man. Like, I don't know how Michigan lost to this team. But I kind of did the same thing as Jack. Like, I didn't take a nap. Like, I just went to bed because it was late. But I woke up at like 5:30. And just like, I was like, wonder what the score ended up being. And I saw 65-7. I was like, I didn't win that much on NCAA, man. Like it was kind of nauseating. And also to see like AP voters putting Ohio State number 2 is hilarious. Like, did we just not watch that game? Like I saw it with my own eyes. It was Justin, you were there. Like I saw the game. So that's been the most annoying thing, I think, is like the Ohio State fans and media being like, oh, look, that was the national championship. And it's like, yeah, Michigan lost to TCU, but they literally played. Ohio State's lost 2 games in a row. I don't understand that narrative at all.
Michigan had a better record. They beat the shit out of Ohio State in the shoe, and they both lost at the same spot. Now, Georgia lost by 1 to the team that won won the natty by 100. I understand like why, I guess how they're getting to that answer, but like you can't just eliminate what happened for the entire season or what happened a month ago. So it's comical, especially like the thing is that you also have to look at how Michigan lost to TCU. It wasn't like Michigan got like overpowered. It was very obvious that Michigan was making mistakes that they had never made all year long. So you look at 2 pick sixes, you look at being on the 1 yard line twice and not scoring. Like that's 28 points right there. And so like you're not going to tell me that Michigan was I actually still think that like Michigan was probably the better team in that Michigan TCU game. They just shot themselves in the foot way too many times. So if you're going to tell me after all that, oh yeah, Ohio State's a better team, get out of here, dude. Just because of one game that they played with Georgia. And guess what? They shot themselves in the foot too, because they absolutely blew it in the fourth quarter by multiple scores.
I think my number one takeaway from that game was that Georgia was a lot better than we were giving them credit for, like from start to finish.
Stetson Bennett is money.
I think every angle that isn't Georgia was the best team this year is the wrong angle. Like if you can't admit that, then there's no point in arguing. Like what is Ohio State going to argue about? Because they came within a point. I mean, like games have a million different outcomes from a million different ways that can happen. It's not just that transitive. It's not just, oh, well, Marvin Harrison got hurt, so that's it. And it's like, but he didn't catch the ball that he got hurt from. It's like, who's to say that he was going to catch every ball thrown at him the rest of the way? He dropped a big pass against Michigan too late in the game, and he had an insane start to the game. So I just don't get like what that proves. I think at the end of the day, we can all like cohesively agree that Georgia was undoubtedly the best team in college football this year, and Ohio State played a really good game against them, but they got their asses beat by Michigan a week prior, and it means nothing. Or 2 weeks, whatever it was, a month prior, even though it means nothing because
to me, it's the same thing as Alabama fans screaming that they would have given Georgia a better game. I don't disagree with you. Yes, you would have given Georgia a better game, but guess what? I have an idea for how you get into the college football playoff is you don't lose twice. Like that is pretty plain and simple in my opinion. Don't lose twice, and then you get your chance to play Georgia in the Natty, right? And so I will say like Stetson Bennett, you know what? You can talk your shit about Stetson Bennett about how he's not that good, but he can point to everything to say like, yeah, I'm pretty fucking good.
I feel like nobody's saying that anymore, right?
People were up until that game for sure, though, right?
I felt like that was last year. Like I was definitely like Stetson Bennett. He's a walk-on. Like I've never heard of him, whatever. And then they won last year. I was like, okay, he was pretty fucking good. He destroyed us. And then he just kept doing it all year this year. And then in that game last night, I was like, he kind of looked like a better version of like, sorry to say, like JJ in a way.
100% better.
Like, well, he's also, I mean, this guy is about to start taking distributions out of his IRA with no penalty. Like, I think that's where the hate probably comes from is like, he's 25. Like, he's the same age as my wife, who's got a master's degree and been out of school for 2 years. So, like, I understand to a point where the hate comes from, but he did ball out this year. And also, I keep seeing this meme go around where it's like a picture of him flexing, and it's like Stetson Bennett flexing on, with a bunch of 5 stars dominating 19 to 20-year-old kids. And it was from Ohio State fans. I'm like, you guys also have 5 stars. Like,
right.
Like, quit trying to be like, oh, we're the victim here. But also just, Stetson Bennett is an interesting case. Like, I don't know what his NFL prospects are. Like, I feel like he's probably going to work for Merrill Lynch soon, but he is a baller, man. 2 natties like that. You can't like, when's the last team to win 2 in a row was probably Bama. Like I mean, Stetson is he was phenomenal all season.
Dude, when you look at a guy like Brock Purdy and what he's doing with the Niners, it makes me think Stetson Bennett can do whatever the fuck he wants in the NFL.
Oh, dude, Bill Belichick is salivating somewhere.
Replace Mac Jones with him.
They should just like he should just become a staffer at Georgia immediately. He should be director of recruiting or something, whatever it is.
Why? He'll be sick in the NFL.
I'm not sick, but
why is everybody sleeping on Stetson Bennett?
I'm not going to buy that one.
I just want to point out that this argument about quarterbacks will always end up being pointed towards Brady and Brady's college tape and everything that Brady's done since then. Always, it'll always end up there because it happened. And like guys like this continue to like pop up and turn into what they turn into. And most of the time it's a dud, but a few times it's Tom Brady. And if you're an NFL front office and you're in the 6th round and you're looking at Stetson Bennett, you're like, you know what? This is worth the risk of the potential upside. So he'll 100% be in the league for at least like Drew Lock's in the league. Everyone has a chance.
David Blau's
have a chance. You have a chance.
David Blau started last week, did he not?
I mean, dude, everyone has a chance to show up. If you show up to tryouts,
here's my thought though: is like I don't know. I equate him to like an AJ McCarron a little bit, right?
How? He's so athletic. AJ McCarron was not even close.
I know.
Let me a tree.
He's a playmaker.
Okay,
he can run around. He can stem plays. He can throw money. Run the money. I mean,
I agree.
You're not giving him credit.
Okay, well, you have to let me finish my sentence.
You equate him to AJ McCarron. I don't know how I can. That's.
Can't let that slide.
So here's my take on it: is that a lot of those like Bama quarterbacks that like a Mac Jones as well, right? Where it's like you're really good when you have almost the best player at every position on your offense on the field at all times. And that's what you are at Bama and Georgia. It's like if you have Brock Bowers and then you go to the Cleveland Browns or, the Jacksonville Jaguars or like insert, the Chicago Bears right next year. And it's like all of a sudden you have fucking Chase Claypool as your number 1 receiver. And it's like, oh, wait, he's not that good anymore. So I agree with you. Stetson Bennett, like, outperformed what anybody thought he would do at Georgia, 1,000%. And I think he's got athleticism that will surprise people at the next level. But I just think it looks so much easier than it is when you have the talent on the offensive line, at tight end, at wide receiver, when you have 5 stars at almost every position.
I mean, here's a hot take. Do you really think that Georgia's starting offense is that much better than Michigan's starting offense?
Talent-wise?
I think it's just better designed.
Really like position by position. Not scheme, not any of that.
I mean, yeah, you've got these top guys, but Stetson Bennett is still putting the ball in the money. He's hitting guys in stride. He's putting balls where only his receivers can get it. I mean, it's not like he's just chucking it up there and those guys are making plays. That's some of it, but Stetson Bennett's still putting the ball where it needs to be.
If anything, who's doing that? It's Max Duggan. Duggan's throwing it up, chucking it up. Prayer to Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, he should have. Duggan had that one pick that he had to that big receiver that torched Michigan. He had him wide open over the middle, and he threw it like behind him, and that's why it ended up in a pick. But he had plenty of room to the left side. I mean, Bennett makes that throw, and he throws it on a dot, and it's a touchdown.
I will say TCU played last night like I thought they would against Michigan, which was like that the moment was too big for them. I thought that they would come into the Michigan game where the moment was too big for them. And I mean, obviously the way that the game went right away, momentum went on their side immediately, and that helped. And then in the Georgia game in the national championship, momentum was never on their side. I mean, the one touchdown, I guess you could say, but like it was a false start immediately. It was a fumble immediately. That I thought that last night Duggan was like, oh shit, like I'm not sure if we can be on this field. And it was very similar to how Michigan played against Georgia last year too. It was like we're a top dog in the Big Ten, but we're not on Georgia's level. So that was like the first time that I don't know. I thought that TCU played last night like I envisioned them playing against Michigan. We shot ourselves in the foot early, and it changed the play out of that game, I thought.
Yeah, I think go ahead, Brandon.
I think Michigan's offense, like if you compare them to Georgia's, for instance, I think the number one takeaway you can take from it is that like Michigan is power until it isn't. Yeah. And when it isn't, it has no clue what to do. Like it just doesn't have a counter for what doesn't work. It's like plan A, that's it. And for them, plan A worked all year except against Illinois, where we all know they got some, accepted luck, which at the end of the day, like they ended up beating Ohio State anyway. And so it's fine. But that Illinois game was, they got outplayed that day. Like, and we all watched it, so when I just think that they're power until they're not. And so, there's obviously rumors about, what's going to happen with the staff and who's going to stay intact. I mean, obviously that starts from the top and that's the number one thing right now. But even with like Matt Weiss, like is Matt Weiss coming back? Is he not coming back? And if he isn't, does that mean Michigan's offense is going to lose its inventiveness and like lean too much on power again? Or is it the opposite? I don't know. I just know that when they get to those games where they didn't even get to Georgia. We didn't even get to see what that was going to look like against Georgia. But if they didn't win the power matchup against Georgia, what was going to happen? The counter was really good against TCU. I thought the offense was designed really well against TCU. Obviously, 48 points kind of speaks for itself, right? But I just think that when it came to that Georgia game, hypothetically, just thinking about what TCU did, I think Michigan ran into some problems because those two offenses are pretty similar, as much as we don't like to admit it. Because what is Michigan's offense? Is it the 55 carry offense, or is it what we saw against TCU and what we saw against Iowa or Purdue?
Well, let's talk about that, of what it's going to look like in 2023, because Blake Corum just announced that he's coming back, which is gigantic in my opinion.
Right.
Why don't we start off here? Jack texted us that he hates Blake Corum and doesn't want him on our team next year.
I've seen that take a lot, that people are concerned that Blake coming back is going to take carries away from Donovan, but I think it's the opposite. I think both guys are going to benefit from being able to split carries and not have to carry the ball 30 times against Nebraska like Blake Corum did last year, which is still almost malpractice, as I'm thinking about it. And I think not needing to lean on Cole Cabana so much coming in. I know he's going to be in early this year as an early enrollee, but just being able to have two of the top 5 backs in the country on your team is always a good thing. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is the potential to have both on the field at the same time and be able to create mismatches. And I was texting with Jack about this, but creating mismatches with Donovan out of the backfield or motioning him out to be in the slot and get him lined up on a linebacker or a safety. And it's going to be even a corner. I mean, he is so good at being a receiver that I think he could be a first-round pick as a receiver. So, I mean, it opens a lot of things up. But, again, it's got to come down to the design. There were a lot of things that Michigan did this year that were kind of head-scratching. They really ran a lot of screens week 1 and 2 and then kind of went away from them. They tried to do, like, a fake pass off of a sweep that they never ran a sweep before, so it didn't fool the defense. So, like, there's a lot of things that there was no cohesion to, and I don't know how much of that I put on the coaches having 2 OCs. I don't know, but there's a lot of talent. Again, there needs to be some cohesion to the game plan throughout the year to be able to build off of things. I thought they did a good job in the Ohio State game, but I mean, they were just, there were some busts that Ohio State just, didn't have a guy in the right gap. And a lot of that was created by the run game with the quarterback. And that's another thing that needs to be implemented. So there's a lot that I'm excited about. Didn't mean to hijack this, but yeah, I think it's a good thing that Blake Corum is back.
All right, that is hot take that Heisman contender before he got hurt is back. I'm gonna go ahead and read the text messages I received from Jordan Jack Shield yesterday when we sent.
This is lovely.
We sent
I'll defend myself.
We sent that Blake Corum is returning. We sent the news in our group chat, and Jack Shield, I'm so pissed. He better be RB2. Edwards is better than Corum, and it's not particular close.
Facts.
I just really want Dono to not lose snaps, but also Corum is super overrated and short, so he can't be trusted.
Also facts, dude. Short kings, man.
So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get Blake Corum and Jack in a room, lock the door, and read these aloud and see what happens. And Blake's just gonna
Oklahoma drill
out of him with his bare
Oklahoma
hands
drill with Drake.
Blake too
with
nice,
Blake and
man.
Jack.
Blake's too nice. He wouldn't do anything.
He would laugh at you in your face, and it would just I feel like he could probably take you down to the with
100% he could take me down
just by looking at you. He wouldn't even have to touch you.
Dude, I'd be shaking.
Yes, for sure.
He's just a fucking meatball.
It'd be like he'd do one of these to make you flinch, and then you'd just be cowering in the
shit
corner.
my pants.
Yeah.
He would not
but
get a turkey.
I
Go
100%
ahead.
believe that Donovan Edwards is better all around than Blake Corum. And it's a valid concern that I have that Dono's not going to get as many snaps as maybe I think he should because Blake's coming back. Now, after talking to Tanner and Kalen, if Dono's still getting snaps and he's, playing out wide at receiver and maybe doing like a wide back Deebo Samuel type role, then I'm okay with it. Like as long as he's getting utilized in the pass game and the run game, then I'm fine with it. But, if it's legitimate Blake's RB1 and Dono's only getting in there on third down or whatever, then I'm going to be a little, annoyed because we saw what he did against Ohio State. We saw what he did against Purdue. I mean, he's a big time playmaker. Not saying Blake's not, but Dono's better at catching the ball. He's a threat out wide and he can run the ball and he's physical.
The one thing I'll agree with you on is I think it needs to be a 1A, 1B situation where they split carries pretty evenly. I don't think it'll be good. And Donovan, I mean, honestly, he'll probably be in the portal halfway through the year if he's getting, 6 snaps, 6 carries a game. And nobody would be like, oh, why are you in the portal, right? Like nobody would question that. So I do agree with you that I hope that it's a 1A, 1B situation. But here's my take. I was talking on the phone with Jake Butt about this for a long time. Jake was fired up today
Name
about
drop.
the game. Name drop.
Humble brag.
Humble brag. If you guys aren't aware, I do that quite a bit, like way too often on this show.
Why do you think I'm joining, dog? Like, I'm just trying to be able to be like, yo, Michigan, insert Michigan athlete, and I were just texting.
Yeah.
We were just using emojis all day, bro.
Sending gifts back and forth.
We were, man. It was crazy.
It was sick. No, but he said it. We both said it. Really was that TCU was the first time that I thought that Michigan really missed Blake Corum since the injury because Dono is incredible at putting his head down, running as hard as he can, and getting yards there. And I know he's explosive in a lot of different ways, but I felt like there was a linebacker in that hole every single time. And Blake usually he's shifty and bounces it or, makes the guy miss. I go back to the All-American linebacker for Iowa, right? He's in the hole on that one play and Blake makes one move and the dude is gone, right? And so that's where I thought that we missed Blake and Donovan may get to that point in 2023, right? He may develop a shiftiness to himself, but I just think that he is the downhill runner. And that's why I think Blake was able to grow from 2021 to 2022 to become this all-purpose, all-down back. And that's why I think Blake is so incredibly important to this team.
I mean, obviously you can have that take when Blake didn't play in the game, but it's hard to put all that on Dono. I mean, the O-line.
I'm not saying it's Dono's fault. No, I think it goes a little bit differently. There are some of those that aren't just stopped at the line if Blake's carrying the ball instead of Dono just 100 miles an hour with his head down trying to overpower an All-American linebacker.
Yeah, because if you look at Blake's vision, it's elite for a college running back. Donovan has very good vision, but there are some holes that were missed. And there were a couple times where I thought he really tried to bounce it and just wasn't able to hit the edge and maybe would have been better suited with a jump cut. But that's not really his game. So I think just having both guys is a really tough thing for defenses to handle. And when they did have split carries, it was the Penn State game. Right. If that's the game plan for both, obviously you're not going to run 400 yards, 4 touchdowns each game. But if that's a game plan to be able to have both of those guys in and out, keep them fresh, that's got to be the game plan all year.
Ooh. How do we feel about the wing T with
AJ? I honestly wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it.
At the goal line,
funny with that.
At the goal line, it'd be sweet. Dude. I think Donovan's getting there with his vision, but I thought he missed a lot when he had to carry it. He has all the makings of a lead back, and I'm positive he could be one if Blake wasn't returning or anything. But I think Blake is unequivocally better than him right now. As a runner, as a running back, Donovan does a lot of things on the field that Blake can't do, in the air and as a wideout and this, that, and the other thing. I don't know who's the better blocker, but you could probably pick and choose there. I think they're both good, but I think the better true runner, the better guy to get the ball and trust on 3rd and 1 is still Blake. But that's not like discrediting what Donovan does. I think, Tanner said it best. Like, those two are the perfect complement to each other. Like, I don't see any of this being an issue. I think that they're both all in on each other being, the spell and being that 1A and the 1B situation. I think they're all about that together. So
also,
I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Let's think about it. Both of them were injured this year,
Right.
so like
it's nice insurance to have.
I mean, we don't without Donovan Edwards that we don't win. We don't beat Ohio State. We don't win the Big Ten, right? Like that is for
DJ
sure.
Stokes and Isaiah Gash versus Ohio State.
You're not having your 3rd and 4th string running backs, have to carry a game on their shoulders. Which
I think that Kalel Mullings should start wearing a neck roll.
that would be sick.
Right.
Fullback. Yeah.
Cowboy collar.
Like, that only makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I think the unspoken thing about Blake and Dono, though, is like we also want to make sure we have a competent like backup to JJ, so we feel confident allowing him to like run on some of these.
Come on now, Davis Warren.
I'm just saying,
slander on
they
this
weren't
podcast
confident.
is ridiculous.
We were confident.
Orgy,
slander,
baby.
Davis Warren slander. What's
Orgy
going on?
season.
Davis Warren is no worse than Cade McNamara. Like,
Davis Warren can actually run, and I think fits the offense a lot better. So
Dude,
if the worst comes to worst, he is able to run that offense. I like what I saw from
Stetson
him.
Bennett.
He could be.
Cade
He's probably
McNamara
got 7
anyway.
years of eligibility
that.
still with COVID.
Are we not allowed to talk about this? What's up with that guy?
Who?
Cade. What's up
Who?
with that guy? Cade. What's up with
Who's
that guy?
McNamara?
Yeah, what's up with that guy?
He's going
the
to
weirdest
be
transfer of all time.
He's
the
the Hawkeye,
weirdest
dog.
Big Ten West Player of the Year.
This is the weirdest transfer of all time.
That's wrestling school in the
I
Big
mean-
Ten. What do you want from him?
If I was Cade, I would transfer too, and I was not a bad place for him to shine.
I have no problem with the decision. It's just like I don't even have a problem at all. I just think it's been weird, and like the way he's gone about the move has just been odd. It's like
a little
not to like
strange.
shine any animosity. It's just been like
I mean, he
he does
felt-
that interview where he's like,
no.
"Oh, please tell us how bad we are. Please tell us how bad we are." And I'm just like, "All right, man. Like we get it. You have a chip on your shoulder. Like we
I
you
do-
don't need to
Brian Ferentz is your
Tweeting
OC,
you're
like-
trash.
I
I don't
feel
know.
like he's
just
going
digging a
to
new hole." If I'm a player on that team, like I wouldn't like that.
No, and I feel like he's going to realize really quickly what being in an Iowa offense is like once he gets there. He's going to be like, oh shit, I don't have Sherrone Moore as my old coordinator, and we're gonna like their whole thing is punting is winning. Like that's the offense that he's going into.
They're
And-
playing the field position game.
Yes, and so it's going to be really
That's my
interesting.
Packers.
What about Drell to Oklahoma? Is
Good
he
for
going
him,
Yeah,
man.
for
That's
real.
awesome.
Huge
Wow.
Huge W. Perfect fit.
He could have like 1,000 receiving yards
100%.
next year. Honestly,
Yeah, they're gonna
Who's
be
their
a lot better. Dylan Gabriel, right?
Yeah.
I assume he'd be gone.
No, he's back. I
I
think
think he
right?
still has a year left. You have to
Yeah.
remember we're in post COVID,
Post
so like
fucking COVID,
everyone
yeah.
can
Everyone's gonna
stay
be
as long as
Stetson
they
Bennett.
want.
Like
There's
everyone,
always a way to stay.
Everyone's gonna be Stetson Bennett. It's fine.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel will like him if he's still around.
Yeah, he'll be perfect in a vertical offense that's like practically an air raid.
Yeah, I mean there was plenty of times Andrew was wide open down the field and we just couldn't connect with him. I mean, great receiver.
He
I
made
hope he
some
shines
drops
down there.
and ran some shitty routes though.
I mean, but I will say, like, I watched that fourth quarter of the TCU game, and I was like, if we needed to sling it all year, we probably could have, right? And like,
JJ was on the money, man. Like I know he had the issues with the picks, right? Those are two glaring issues, but and Justin, it's tough when you're watching it in person, as you and I were. Humble brag again, but I was in the TCU section, dude. Let me just real quick. The fucking worst, bro. Like the first play, I start waving to the TCU fans behind me like this, and then he gets caught because Ronnie Bell doesn't get his block, and I'm just losing it. And anyways, JJ was on the money, man. Some of those throws, like the throw to Roman, was perfect. Like he could have let him a little bit more, but like then you run the risk of overthrowing him. The touchdown to, I think maybe it wasn't the touchdown. Maybe it was Ronnie Bell got down to the one, was on the money on that post, and then the flea flicker was easy. But that kid was slinging it, man, and I was really impressed with his game outside the picks, which are obviously huge. But he was playing hard.
as much as I love Davis Warren, I do know that they utilized JJ running in that fourth quarter more than they ever have before, and they'd been hesitant
They
to
should've.
do that because they didn't feel that Davis Warren was like 100% ready to lead that.
But wasn't
team.
JJ
It's the last game
also
of the year,
hurt,
though,
all
like-
year?
So yes, I'm saying they ended up doing it in that game because it was like potentially.
They needed to do it in the first quarter. They didn't do it until the
Could've done it all fucking
it was
game.
41-22, and then he breaks off the 2 big runs, and that was one of my gripes of like Georgia did it right away, and that
Yeah.
was the way to beat them, was to get to the outside, was to put their linebackers in conflict. Michigan never did that. That's what's so frustrating about that game.
Yeah.
Well, especially even you saw how fast JJ is and athletic he was. I think it was the first drive
Yeah.
where he escaped out to the right, came all the way back around the field. He
That
almost
play
scored a
was
touchdown.
nasty.
That
I
play
mean,
was
it's insane.
ridiculous.
He should have been running like that the entire game.
I want him to Superman dive, like float
I
across
know.
the goal line, like Mike Vick back in the day. Like I
Ugh.
needed that so bad because
I-
again,
I-
there's
better
like
than
you
Mike
said, the
Vick?
momentum that could have if Dono scores or JJ scores, there's something, and we don't run the stupid Philly special.
Different game. Yeah.
Like I think there was a point to the TCU player being like, oh yeah, I think we had him once they started running trick plays. Like we felt like the desperate team, which was stupid.
Yeah.
You
I don't know
have
why you ran
the
trick
best O
plays.
line, run it down their throat from the 2-yard line. I don't understand that.
Or just kick a field goal. Like
Yeah,
I
take your
mean,
points.
take your points. It's so early. So early, like I don't know.
It's like watching a good movie, right? You got to have a setup and then a payoff. But when there's no setup, there's no payoff.
Right,
So
exactly.
we're running these trick plays, and they're like, okay, like I see you're trying to trick me. Like,
Yeah.
it's stupid.
I will say though, not that I didn't have respect for JJ or thought that he was great, but like holy shit, in that second half against TCU, I was like, this dude is him. Like legitimately, this is the dude I want. Like I really think that going into 2023, I'm like, man, the sky, like that dude should be. I'll be mad if we don't get him to be a Heisman contender by the end of the year of 2023. Like you have to utilize the shit out of him in the run game, in throwing the ball. Like we can't go through the year. I know we've got 2 of the best running backs in the nation, right? In our backfield, but like I think you have to have a big balance of utilizing JJ McCarthy and the talent that he has. Otherwise, I'll be really frustrated if he's like ready to go to the draft and he's got 20 touchdowns to 3 picks again. Like we need to get him to like 30 touchdowns and throw the ball a lot more.
We should have 3,000-yard rushers.
We should. And I think I agree with you guys. Like JJ needs to be a playmaker. And I feel like you guys are a little, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like you guys are hyping him up to be the passer that he's not there yet. Because I mean, and again, he was hurt a lot of the season apparently.
Were you sleeping during that game too?
No, but I mean, you've seen JJ throw the ball all season. It's not like he's throwing dots.
Yeah, but they never
the
really
entire
let him
time.
let him get into a rhythm. Like I've seen him make NFL level throws, and then they'll run the ball 10 straight times, and it's
Yeah.
it's
So, I
hard
mean,
to get into a
if
rhythm
he
when
can throw the ball like crazy well next year. I mean, he's got the Heisman locked up, but I think he's just so athletic that you've got to run some read options with him and Dono or
Yeah,
him and
for
Blake
sure.
or whoever. You
Absolutely.
need to get him outside of the pocket.
yeah.
I
you
think
use
the
his
point-
legs.
The point more was like when we had to rely on JJ and it was like, all right, JJ, you're going to be the guy in this fourth quarter and you're going to sling it all over the place. He was on the money 99% of the time. Like
That last touchdown, like he created
Unbelievable.
that. He created that. Like he was running around and found, was it Roman in the back of the end zone? I mean,
Yes.
ridiculous. And
Yeah.
that's the potential, and that's why you go with him over a safe pick in Cade McNamara. Like that's the reason why everyone was so excited, was because he makes plays like that. Now it's year 2 as a starter, year 3 in the program, healthy offseason, please God. Like that's the recipe for Heisman top 10 pick.
Well, you do have to remember, you just made a good point, Tanner. Like he didn't throw with any of our receivers until fall camp. Any of them.
You missed the
Like,
entire spring ball, right?
He missed entire spring ball, and he also did not throw very much, if at all, through the summer. He was still rehabbing, and so that I think a healthy offseason with some of these younger guys. If I was a Michigan fan, I would be very, very excited about Amarion Walker going to be an absolute stud.
Darius Clemens
is going to be an absolute beast. Amarion Walker might play corner, to be honest, because I don't know what's going to go on at that position right now. But like I want to see. I'm sorry, I love Blake and I love Donovan, but like I need to see JJ connect with Darius Clemens a lot next year. Like I need to see that. Otherwise, to be honest, like our recruiting at the quarterback and the wide receiver position is going to plummet more, than it already has.
Any last words, Justice, before you go to practice?
I was just about to say I have to go. Let's see. Well, A, I'm sorry that on the first episode I have to go to ball. B, ball is life, so I have no other option. Outside of that, I have some close. You know what? I do have a closing sentiment. All right. How about this? So the 2022 Michigan season, very successful, very good, right? But everyone has a sour taste in their mouth because they lost in the semifinal, right? Okay. Had Michigan beaten TCU, which they did not, let's not dive into hypotheticals, but had they, everyone would be talking about Michigan as the preseason number 1 or 2, which, depending on what Georgia returns, I don't know, but they would be like the number 2 or the number 1, like undoubtedly. There would be no second guessing it. But because they lost a game where if you're a human being and you had eyes on it and you watched it, Michigan made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, whereas in 13 games they did not make them. Okay. Everyone's opinion on Michigan next year just completely shifted because of that game. And that's normal human behavior. I'm not surprised by it. I just want to explain that it is wrong because had that not happened, this would be a totally different opinion. Because of why? Because Michigan returns everything. They use the transfer portal to plug every hole they have outside of maybe like corner. But either way, Will Johnson comes back, and there's all these rumors about this USC guy. Well, and I don't want to say his name. It's like Voldemort. I don't want to jinx it or anything. All these things are happening, right? They have every hole plugged. They get JJ back, Blake back, Donovan back. Most of the receiving, I think we're going to see better receivers next year, as everyone knows. I am a WR hater, whatever. And bulk of their O-line coming back. Zach Zinner might come back. Trevor Keegan might come back. It's like, had they beaten TCU, the conversation on Michigan would be an unequivocal number 2, second only to Georgia, and it would be marginal. But because they lost that game to TCU, which they did, no one's denying that or making excuses for that. But because of that, it changed the narrative on a team next year that has no effect on the team from last year, which was the same conversation we had before last year, where everyone said, because Michigan lost to Georgia, that'll be one good year and it'll be over. But then Michigan did it again and they went 13-0. And now the same thing is happening. They're saying the same things because the same thing happened, but the same thing is going to happen. Michigan's going to have just as good as a team. They'll probably beat Ohio State at home, and they'll probably manhandle everybody else. And they'll probably go 13-0.
All right,
beautiful.
I love it.
I'm fired up, dude. Is it
Incredible.
September yet? Are we at a tailgate yet?
Holy
What's going
shit.
on, boys? I need warm weather and a tailgate. Spending $6 on beer. Talking to John Teske right now.
It'll be my first time going to a game without having to go to the press box and actually being able to like hang out with people I enjoy. No offense, there's a lot of writers I do enjoy, but it's just it'll be more fun. And
You're gonna have so much fun, man.
Oh,
I'm looking forward
so
to
much
it. I
fun.
still got to behave myself, public figure and all. I
You
work for
are
a public
public
company,
figure.
all right? But
True.
I gotta
It's true.
control myself out there. So seltzers only. I'll see you guys later.
All
Go
right.
Bears.
Hit some
Appreciate
rockets
it.
today.
yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, I've got my response to him on. I think he makes a really good point. Like if things go differently there, then all of a sudden, it's no doubt for a number 2, right? If not possibly preseason number 1. I love it. I love it. It's another. Anytime that we are slighted, and I love it. I think JJ and Blake take that to heart. I truly do believe that. And also, like, talking to a lot of these guys, the whole, like, oh, they're standing out on the field again, and watching the celebration. It didn't work last year. Like, they're actually really hurt that they lost that game. They feel like they lost on one of the best opportunities ever to win a national title. And I really, truly think that they're going to be thinking about that all year long. So as much as obviously you want to win a national title, you want to do it all. Like, I think that ultimately for this 2023 team, them losing that game is going to be all they think about all offseason. And it's going to make them fight and power everything so that they go back and do exactly what Justice says, which is, go out, hopefully beat everybody and get your next shot at a title.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that we're realizing is that this is big boy football. This shit's hard, man. I was in a Twitter space with an Ohio State fan who I go back and forth with, but he's a pretty smart guy for the most part. But like that's what he was saying. Like this shit is hard. Like there's only 4 teams that come to this dance every single year and know it's going to increase. But like to even get to the playoffs is awesome. And not to take any moral victories or anything, because I know the guys want to win it all, and obviously we want to win it all and take, go 15-0. But I think it's just it's so hard, and the narrative always changes, like Brandon said. But I think as we get into the spring, into the summer, that will kind of change, and I think people will see Michigan as a top 3 team with everything that they have coming back and everything they've added. So yeah, I mean, I'm very fired up for this team. I don't know if you guys want to make any comments. I know there's like a huge lingering cloud over everything right now that's kind of annoying, but
I haven't seen any preseason polls where they don't have Michigan as a top 3 team.
Yeah, I saw Joe Klatt had Michigan 2 behind Georgia.
Yeah.
I've seen some people have Michigan like 4.
I was like, I haven't seen anything that people are,
I think
not
most people
Michigan
at number 3.
Yeah, I've seen 3, 4, but I've seen 2 as well. Any top 4 is,
yeah, fuck it.
Top 5
Great.
preseason's fine.
Yeah. Dude, I have a couple things in response. Is yes, like go look at how many teams have gone 13-0 and 13-1, right? Like it's not that many. There are so many. There's 120 teams that would kill that to do what Michigan did this year, right? And there's 130 however many teams of Michigan football history that would kill to do what Michigan did. If you go back and talk to Taylor Lewan, talk to Devin Gardner, talk to Jake Butt, and these dudes would absolutely kill to have that season that they did. So like for us, the fan, it's easy to overreact and be disappointed and say they underachieved and blah, blah, blah. But like this team was really incredible and did things that a lot of other teams never did. So I agree with you in that, Tanner. Like people have to realize, like, I know we can, it's not like I want to set our expectations low or something, but like you need to realize what it is, how difficult it is, and what it was to for them to accomplish that. The second piece, like, yeah, you're right. The Harbaugh thing is the elephant in the room, and it's getting to be annoying. Like we're really to the point where, like, all right, he's interviewing with the Broncos for 2 hours, and I was told by someone today that the Broncos like legitimately are ready to offer $20 million a year. Like that's probably going to happen. That offer is going to come out here soon. And I thought that this year, what Jim Harbaugh is doing is the first time that he is actually going back on his word and like lying to us. Every other time, like when he says something, he sticks by it. This time it's pissing me off because he didn't. I felt like he lied to us and he lied to the administration. And you know what? It's hurting everything again. It's hurting all the momentum. So 2 years in a row, you have 2 of the best seasons of Michigan football, and 2 years in a row, the momentum is stunted almost immediately with this stuff. I
feel like he's
curious
going very,
if it's more
very
that like it's Ward Manuel in the athletic department that he's pissed off at. Like it's got to be something behind closed doors. Like, because obviously all the players talk about how much they love him and everything like that. Like, it's got to be something else going on.
I do think he's a very petty man, and I think he felt slighted in 2020. When he got his pay cut and all that whole thing, and he's been on a mission to throw up his middle finger to everybody who doubted him since then. And I think that Ward Manuel is probably one of those guys that's on his list.
But it's also interesting because everybody that wanted him fired, Ward was the one that said he was going to keep him around.
I mean, he could have easily fired him.
This whole situation, I don't know what's going on.
He could have fired him, and it would have been justified after 2020, right? So I do agree with that. Like, he's probably like an FU to them, and wants to like, say like, you didn't believe in me. Well, look at me now. But also, like, to your point, Jack, that's a good point. Like, Ward can be like, I was the only guy who believed in you, dude.
Plus, I have to assume, like, guys like Blake said they talked to Harbaugh. I have to assume there was like, hey, coach, are you coming back? If you're back, I'm back. So
I do agree with that. Like that whole move seemed crazy to me of Blake to do that without knowing that his coach is back. Because if Blake makes that decision and then Harbaugh decides to take a job, I mean, everything changes. Obviously, there's no doubt that Blake would still be like RB1 here, right? Like it's not like that's changing, but like all of a sudden, probably some guys on the offensive line leave, and the portal guys probably don't end up coming here. And like the whole roster, the whole Schembechler Hall changes if Harbaugh doesn't come back. So I agree with you there, Kalen.
Yeah, I'm very frustrated at this point with everything that's going on and everything that I've read from the, different message boards. I think the thing that is so frustrating is that last year he signed a new contract and said, I will be here as long as you'll have me. This will not be a reoccurring thing. And then to have it literally like 3 days after the season ends to start seeing these rumors pop up is very frustrating as a fan. It's tough for me because, and I think when it comes to money, somebody like Jim Harbaugh, who's made so much in his career as a coach and as a player, is probably invested. Is probably worth, 8 figures plus, right? I think the thing that I always try to think about is it's not about the money. It's about the respect and maybe the admiration of like, hey, we got to have you. But the thing that I keep thinking about, because like I've seen stuff where it's like, oh, he felt slighted or he feels slighted because he's not paid as much as Mel Tucker or Ryan Day or whatever. But it's like, you kind of alluded to this, like, dude, you struggled the first 6 years. Like that's unequivocally a fact. And you were paid as a top 5 coach in college football going, yeah, you had some 10-win seasons, but you went 9-4, 8-5 in the 2-4 seasons. So my thing is like Michigan did keep you, stood by you, and maybe you felt slighted. I don't know. Like I'm not like anybody who's at this level of their profession is probably a huge fucking weirdo, right? Like you have to have like some sort of weird.
No way, Jim Harbaugh's
right? No, yeah, but I mean just anybody else, like anybody at this level, like even if you're like an accountant and you're like the top G, like you are, you're probably a weirdo, right? So I don't have that mindset. I'm cool with just being like above average. That's not what I was referencing, but the top dog. But I keep, he comes up on my TikTok all the time. It's like, dude, get out of here. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just been really weird, and it's really frustrating. And I feel for the guys, and the guys that have NFL decisions. That's coming up. It's January 10th. That's coming up on Monday in 6 days.
End of the week.
I mean, like, what are we doing here? So it's just really frustrating to kind of see Michigan be second fiddle to be his fallback plan. Especially all the, the coach he played for, all the things that he preached about as far as the team, no man's bigger than team. Like
now he's kind of making himself a little bit bigger than the team, is he?
Right.
Not?
Yeah. Like no, whatever your thoughts on Bo, like those things still do ring true. And he's completely going against that and, not calling him a liar, but he did go back on his word. Like he said, this would never happen again. And here we are again.
Yeah. To be fair, he did say there's no telling what the future holds.
He gave himself an out.
That's right.
But like that's even more annoying, like I don't know.
It's even more annoying.
So good at covering his tracks.
Don't say anything. Just don't say anything at that point or something. It is frustrating. It feels like that kick in the dick, right? Like every time we're like, all right, we're like, for me as a lifelong Michigan fan, and I know like Jim Harbaugh doesn't owe me anything as a lifelong Michigan fan, right? Like I think we have to like, there are people on social media that like think that just because they go to one game a year or something that they're like owed something by Jim Harbaugh. Let's take that out of the equation. But I think that it feels like, all right, we have this chance to be like a true top 3 program in the country for 5+ years on a run here, right? And it feels like we are like we're just really putting that in jeopardy by what's been going on. I mean, we're doing it despite some recruiting struggles, that's for sure. And you're putting the Jaden Davis stuff in jeopardy right now and a lot of other things. And so it just feels like we have this opportunity lying ahead of us. And this is doing the opposite of what you want as a Michigan fan. And we have strived, like we've waited for 20 years to get to this fucking point, like 20 years, man. And even like, I love Lloyd Carr, but even Lloyd Carr really never got to this point of having it go back-to-back years and build it into something like a dynasty, right? Like we're to
won a natty though.
He did win a natty, no, for sure. But like, this is not, I'm a gigantic Lloyd Carr fan, but like, if you look at what else he did, it was like 10-3, 9-3, 9-4. And, you know, back then that was good enough to win the Big Ten because the Big Ten was that good. And it was more like level instead of just Ohio State and Michigan. But I just feel that, you know, I'm talking in circles now, but we have this opportunity and we're not taking advantage of it because of a lot of things. And from a Michigan fan's perspective that have watched the struggles of this program for 20 years up until 2021, it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul that this opportunity is there and we're not like just like taking it and running with it.
Speaking of head coaches and struggling, maybe we can segue into
Mel Tucker.
Oh, that's not where I was going, but I love it. Love the energy.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Matt LaFleur talking NFL. I'm still jacked up from last.
You wanted to touch on some of the NCAA stuff,
the hoops.
Oh, I meant like the violations and stuff.
Oh, the violations. Gotcha.
I thought we were leaning towards Juwan Howard for a second.
Yeah, I could have seen that. Which I think to touch on basketball real quick, I think that Michigan still has a chance to like get it right here this year. The Big Ten is still wide open. Even Purdue has lost some games in the Big Ten. So like, you know, although obviously for a tournament resume, the non-conference is not good for Michigan's resume.
Great.
But they still have a chance to turn it around. You know, you would have loved to win in the Breslin, and hey, you might need to like not go 10 minutes without scoring to win a basketball game on the road in the Big Ten. But there's a chance that they can get it right. I'm definitely not on like a fire Juwan Howard train quite yet. There's a lot of opportunity there. The violations, Kalen, the NCAA can suck it. Can 1,000% suck
Absolutely.
it. Like,
do we know what the other violations were? Because I know the Burger Gate was like Class 1 violation, right? And there was a couple Class 2 violations.
I think the Class 1 is like Jim
watching
not
COVID
necessarily
workouts.
Well, I think the level 1 is him not necessarily being 100% truthful, because everything else was like if the level 1's not there, like this is a non-story because these things happen all the time and teams self-report all the time. So I think it was Jim maybe saying screw you or was not 100% truthful with the NCAA's investigation.
I feel like there's shades of, and maybe I'm just not remembering this quite right, shades of Jim Tressel in a way. Guys, where the NCAA asked Jim Tressel, are your guys like selling their stuff or like, you know, what was it, tattoos and stuff like that? And he kind of like gave a non-answer, like nebulous, you know, well, I'm not gonna on them. Little did he know the NCAA had already talked to them and already caught them. Right.
The one post you sent, I think, Caitlin, where it was like, this was probably just Jim Harbaugh giving the weirdest answer ever, as he does it in every press conference. Like, that's probably what happened.
Oh my gosh. What did that guy say?
Find that and read it, because that was so funny, and it's probably exactly true. Like Jim Harbaugh, they were like, you know, hey, what happened here? And he's like, well, do we really know what happened?
Mr. Harbaugh, did you?
He starts talking like Matthew McConaughey.
Did you buy 2 recruits a burger? What is savory in the mouth of a recruit doesn't shine bright at the bottom of the Nile River.
Like,
Sir, please answer the question.
A real quote.
That's
Fruit Loops
exactly
on a
how
toasted bun won't make you the valedictorian.
That was so funny, because it was just like, that's exactly how I see this playing out. And or is either that or like Jim Harbaugh 1,000% was like, why are you even spending your time investigating this when there's obvious tampering going on at every other school ever? So like, go spend your time elsewhere. That's how I see it happening, where he was just like, I'm not even going to spend the time to talk to you today because this is so ridiculous.
And my understanding was this was from 2 years ago.
This was 2020. COVID. This was 2020. Yeah.
How deep was this audit?
I think they just move that slow. They're like the sloth in Zootopia. That's how slow they move.
It's such a ridiculous organization, and I don't know how they keep getting away with these things, because it's like, it's essentially the government, right? Like they operate very similarly to the government, but like we're going to get to a point where all these head coaches and ADs are going to say, screw you. We're going to go. All it takes is like 5 of the big time football programs to say, we're going to go do our own thing. And that's it. And I feel like we're really close to that.
But I mean, even if they go like if you're Harbaugh or even Ward, right? Why wouldn't you just go like, NCAA, like, guess what? We don't care. And the NCAA says like, well, fine. Your punishment is you can't coach the first 3 games. Jim Harbaugh should go, fine.
Whatever. That's going to do nothing to us. And yeah. I think I tweeted this out back when they came out as well. Like, I would love that, actually. Like, Jim Harbaugh coming back from that 4th one to just the biggest ovation in the big house ever. And, like, he's just, like, on a mission for a middle finger to be able to, like, receive the national championship trophy and then just do this to Mark Emmert or whoever hands him the trophy. Like, oh, my God, that would be incredible.
The shirts make themselves at that point.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like he's wearing a shirt that just says like "fuck you NCAA" on it.
It's wearing the Brian Bosworth national something against. Is it national communists against athletes? Was the Brian Bosworth T-shirt that he wore when he was suspended? Yeah. The 4th game, by the way, is against Rutgers. So Shiano and the boys might be in for a rough 3 hours.
Football school, Rutgers, Scarlet Knights.
Actually, so can we talk about Georgia's schedule too? That was going around today. Like, if anybody talks about Michigan's schedule this year, then screw you, because I mean, Georgia's is just as bad, if not worse.
But they play Georgia Tech in the non-conference, so like that, even though they only play 8 conference games, it's fine.
Georgia Tech is got to be the same level as Hawaii.
Georgia Tech is.
They might have won like 3 games.
Is certainly a football team.
Yeah,
they do play football. They do. Well, actually, it's like weird football because they kind of play like Army.
Well, not anymore. Now that's why they've been so. So I will give them credit. That's why they've been so bad. Is they're trying to. It's really hard to switch from that system
for 100 years
to like a spread. Yeah, because they did it with Paul Johnson for a decade, and then to switch to like a spread, you just don't have the guys up front. So that's why they've been getting their ass kicked. But
isn't Georgia Tech wasn't it Georgia Tech versus Cumberland that was like the 222-0 game?
Yep.
Yeah. They've been playing football like that for like literally 200 years and then decided no longer going to do it.
They're also in Atlanta. Like, how can you, like, why are you bad? You're a great school. You're in Atlanta. You're in the biggest recruiting hotbed. Like, I don't understand how they're not better.
Which that stat came out the other night too, that like every national champion QB over the last 5 years has come from Georgia. Crazy. Oh man, this is I don't know. I will say to go back to what you said, Tanner, like I don't want to go 9 months without football. I really don't.
I'm really looking forward to this weekend though, because we have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm off on Monday because the market's closed. So 3-day weekend for your boy, little football. Yeah, just chilling. Some sweatpants, just vibing in the house.
I will say this feels like for the first time in a long time, it's like both Michigan and the Lions, you're like on the up and up looking forward to next year instead of talking shit about them like all year long and how like what could have been. There is a little bit of that with Michigan, but like usually it's like next year's the year that the Lions are going to find a quarterback and make the playoffs. Next year is the year that Michigan is going to finally beat Ohio State. Like for the first time in a long time, it's like, oh, like we actually have some things to really look forward to.
I mean, dude, depending how free agency goes for the Lions and how the draft goes, they got to be favored in the NFC North.
Well,
their
if
roster's going to be
Rodgers-
good.
If Rodgers,
Gone.
He's so gone. Well, his post game presser,
I'm
he was like
holding on to
crying.
this one. You hear that? That one that.
Well, dude, he was like already talking. He's like, I'm gonna miss the guys. I'm gonna miss the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
And the
he's
game
gone.
ended 2 minutes ago.
And if he comes back, it doesn't matter. He's washed.
Yeah, he's not very good.
He was 0-2 against the Lions this year.
and they have
Fuck 'em.
nobody. Like Lazard's gonna be gone. He's not that good, but like
CJ Stroud to the Lions?
No, dude, we got Jared Goff.
I think CJ Stroud's like not floor, but like I think what he'll be is like Goff, like very accurate. I don't know if he's going to go win you a game, but I will say CJ against Ohio State was an absolute dog. Like
Against
where was
Georgia?
that dog? Like I'm not mad because I think if he plays like that against Michigan, I think if he plays like that against Michigan, they probably convert some more third downs. Where it's like, where was that? Like if he plays like that, I'm fine with a team that takes him in the first round after seeing him play against Georgia, but I don't think the Lions should.
Or
That's
we take that defensive tackle from Georgia. What's that guy's name?
He's probably gonna be gone.
Yeah.
He's so good.
That guy's-
Maybe Will Anderson, but like you have Hutch and you have James Houston, so like you have edge rushers. You need a
Wasn't
corner for
Anderson a
sure.
linebacker?
Well, he's a combo. He's an edge guy.
Okay.
But him and Hutch off the edge with James Houston is like
Yeah, that'd be
I
huge.
mean, dude,
Can we talk
their eye
about-
for talent's crazy.
Can we talk about how Hutch just proved literally every hater wrong?
Well, okay, it was all Michigan State fans.
It was all Michigan State fans. That's true. It was only Michigan State fans, dude.
Honestly,
the blue wall. Blah,
he was so good. Like you could really see like the first few weeks, like he would get sacks, but it was just like hustle plays. But like later in the season, like he's legitimately beating NFL starting tackles pretty regularly.
He has like
and he's always around the ball.
Interceptions.
Yeah.
Like what?
He's got 2 fumble recoveries.
The one play where he just like stands next to the sideline. Where did that come from? What was that?
It was I think it was like end of the game or something.
It was end of the half, so like they were just in a prevent. But yeah, he was just like standing by the sideline, and Justin Fields never saw him.
That was incredible.
He jumped the route, dude.
That was
beautiful.
incredible. I loved it. And I think they're like, dude, I'm excited to watch some of these other guys at the next level from Michigan. Mike Moe gonna be a stud in my opinion. Mozzie gonna be a stud in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
DJ gonna be a stud. I like what Olu gonna be a stud.
Oh yeah.
I really like what Ronnie. I hope Ronnie does really well at the next
Schoon?
level.
I saw somebody had Schoon as a second rounder. I don't know if that was legit, but like I think Rappaport, like when he tweeted, was like he's a projected second rounder.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but Scooney like screwed up his shoulder and his he got a concussion all in one play. in that
It looked like it.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Woof.
So I'm hoping that he's gonna be good, but like I think Scooney is I think he can be a really, really solid option for somebody at tight end. He's really good at blocking, and like he is just so reliable. That was another one we missed in that TCU game.
He's just got the perfect last name for a tight end, Schoonmaker. Like he's gonna be a star.
Do we have anybody that has like a hard O sound that we can like ooh in the big house? Because that was fun.
Soul Train.
Joel,
sounds like Joel's gone.
Joel's
gone. He's out of COVID years, unfortunately.
Yeah. Going to the NFL. Right?
He signed with an agent. Talked to him for a little bit. I think he could be a great. There are opportunities for blocking tight ends in the NFL too. So
fullback,
yeah, well, and this isn't a slide or anything, but Sean McCune's been with the Cowboys his whole career after signing from the practice squad. So somebody like Joel, who may not even, he's probably not going to get drafted, but is probably going to get a call to be an undrafted free agent, has an opportunity to make a football team. But I think Schoon, I think Schoon's a little bit better than McCune was coming out. I think both really good tight ends. I think Schoon's going to have a really good career in the NFL.
Yeah, dude's got an engineering degree. Talk about a fallback plan, dude. That's insane.
It's amazing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. Tanner, appreciate you joining. Shout out to Brandon Justice as well. We're excited about everything that you guys are going to do to bring to Blue by 90. It's going to be so much fun having you guys join us here, whether it's a little bit of writing, some podcasting, some video, whatever it is. You guys are pros. That's for sure.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, I'm excited. Appreciate you guys having me on. I almost feel like I'm like hopping on something that's like sacred. So, I'll share a little story. When I met my wife, she wasn't my wife at the time. I was like, wow, I'm gonna marry that girl. When I met you guys, I was like, damn, I'm gonna pod with the boys one of these days. Like that was the vibe. But no, it's been so great. I moved to Ann Arbor, for those that don't know, this past spring, and so got to know these guys really well, and was like, man, this is what I want to do, to be able to do it on the side, in addition to my day job, and be able to have some good and bad takes on Michigan football and other sports. Like, it's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to it. Do some writing, some video, some pods, whatever what you said, Justin, and we're going to get after. We have some good ideas, and we got to brainstorm some more, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Keep growing this thing, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
BB, as my man Tyler says, BB90 to the moon.
Oh, I miss that guy. I'm gonna need that guy to just come out like the same way he would for a tailgate, like leave at 5 a.m. and like drive out to East Michigan from West Michigan and just party it up.
Absolutely. I was with him. My brother got married on Saturday, so we were there and we were just raging all night Saturday night on the dance floor. It was, we were shirtless by the end of the night. It was incredible.
How'd the speech go?
Speech went well. Got a lot of good feedback. Made people cry. Is that
It's a W.
Wow.
It's a
That's a
W.
big W.
Any good
Yeah.
jokes?
On purpose?
Any good jokes in there?
I did have some good jokes. Had some good digs at them, but I think people were expecting the jokes, but not expecting the tears. So that's where.
Were you the one crying?
I did cry during it. I did cry during it, but other
So
people
made some
cried
people
with
cry.
me.
Oh, okay.
Other people cried
Fair
with
enough.
me.
I'm one of those people where, like, if I see somebody else cry, I start crying.
Yeah, for sure. So that's definitely like most of it.
Cheat
probably.
code.
Yeah.
But like, I think it is. So is that? Did I cheat by just like starting to cry?
You got everybody was
I
like
think-
Jack.
I think that's a smart move. I think that's a good move.
What if
You
it's an
brought
ugly
the
cry?
emotion. You brought the emotion.
Yeah, it worked. I know everybody I think everyone was expecting me to just joke the whole time, and I did joke like 90% of the time, but the final 10% was some tears flowing, and I think I caught everybody off guard. So it was
There you
good.
go.
But
Good for you.
not that anybody's gonna tell me to my face that my speech was bad, but I did get good feedback on it. So.
Your speech sucks.
Yeah, I don't know if nobody's actually said that to somebody.
I
right?
didn't cry once.
Yeah, I think.
I didn't feel every emotion on the spectrum.
But it was good. I mean, we raged all night, which was awesome. So, but yeah, and listen. There are a lot of places that Blue by 90 are going to go. One of them is to the moon. One of them absolutely is to the moon. So
Beautiful.
cool. Appreciate you, boys. Appreciate you, all you listeners. For us, you can follow us at Blue by 90 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Blue by 90 Podcast on YouTube, and blueby90.com. We appreciate you. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.